Hello, hello, everyone. And thank you for joining us. I'm here with the amazing Mayim Vega. And I
Hello,
want to,
Solana.
hello, and I want to welcome everyone to the Amplify Your Legacy podcast. We're going to speak with and dive into her journey and what sparked her personal growth and her purpose, what she's doing right now. The lovely Maya Vega. She's someone whose journey is truly remarkable. Starting with her career as a NASA computer scientist, Maya faced major health challenges that conventional medicine couldn't solve. That experience completely shifted her path, leading her to explore holistic healing. Now she combines her scientific background, personal faith, and holistic principles to help others live with purpose and balance. So, whether you're curious about improving your wellness, or creating a legacy that reflects your faith and your personal growth, Mayim has so much to share with us today. So let's get into it. Welcome, Maya, once again.
Hello and
And
shalom, Solana. Thank you for having me. I
shalom.
love what your business is about, building legacy. I That's exactly what what I'm doing. And I love that we both have computer science backgrounds. We're both
We do.
and that's very rare, for women. Um and also women in our day and age. I don't know how old you are, but I'm 46. And I remember when I was in computer science classes, it was maybe like me and maybe one other woman, one other in my classes. So it's a nice treat.
Definitely. The field is growing and women in tech is, growing strong and so happy about that. Back in the day, there weren't a lot, like you said. And we're still fighting the good fight, encouraging other women in tech to show up and shine.
Yeah, I love it. I Because I of my computer science background, I also try to push all my children. I have seven of them, and I try to push them all to learn a little bit of computer science and programming to see if they like it. Also, just learning how to think logically, which is what computer science is all about, is
Mhm.
very beneficial.
Correct.
Just for making decisions in life, having that scientific mind to even approach health and wellness. So there's a lot of this herbalism and holistic medicine. It's like woo woo, and it's like no, it's not. I'm
No,
very
it's not.
rational, person. I'm not into woo woo. I'm into what it has been proven to work. That's what I'm into.
Love it. I love it. So, Mayim, I've got to ask you, how does someone go from NASA, one of the most revered scientific institutions, to holistic health? I imagine that's a pretty unique journey. How did you shift? How did you make this shift? And how do you now view your success?
Absolutely. I think, even getting into NASA um had to do with the same, I think, basic principle, which is that I have a lot of faith that we have a loving creator and that he wants to bless us with the desires of our heart. And so I just remember when I was an intern at NASA, I heard that sometimes they hire people on, and I started talking to different people about it, and they're like, "Oh, well, that's really rare. I don't know about that." But I just started praying, and I got hired on permanently. And then I got married in 2003, and I had my first child, and I just felt like it was very unnatural to have a baby and then go, leave my baby for 8 hours or more during the day. And NASA had a great daycare program. It was right outside the security gate, so I could visit him on my lunch hour and
Okay.
breastfeed him and things like this. But it still didn't seem natural. And so I was like, I don't believe this is what God intended. So what I really wanted to become an entrepreneur and a work from home mom. So I did that at first, and I became a website and app developer and digital marketer for basically Silicon Valley high tech startups. And so I
Okay.
did that for a while. And then I got really sick, and I had a terrible migraine, which I took over the counter medication for in the beginning, but eventually the Tylenol and extra strength Tylenol and all that, they stopped working.
It didn't work.
So I didn't have any medical insurance. So when it got really, really bad, we rushed to the emergency room with our then two babies. We had a 2 year old and a newborn at that time. And they ran a bunch of tests on me and asked me a bunch of questions. And initially, the doctor thought that I might have a brain tumor. And
Oh,
so she wanted me to take a CT scan to rule that possibility out. So,
mhm.
many hours and thousands of dollars later, she came back and told me good news and bad news. Good news, you do not have a brain tumor. So I was happy about that. But bad news, she said, we have no idea what's wrong with you. Here's some strong painkillers. And she sent me
Wow.
home. So I was like,
Wow.
wow, like how much money went into her education, how much money went into all the medical equipment at the hospital, how
Hmm.
much money went into the, the nurses and staff and the building of that hospital, and they didn't have any answers for me.
Yeah, they
So I
didn't go deeper. Mm.
yeah, so I took this painkillers, which were better than the Tylenol, but they still didn't really help me. They did not address the root cause, because obviously I knew intuitively that my migraines were not caused by a lack of pharmaceutical drugs. And so that was not my that was not the first incident that I had with the modern medical system that was disappointing, but
Mm.
I resolved to make it my last. And I believed, again with faith, that God wanted me to be healthy, and that he didn't intend for me to live in pain. And there was something that
That's
I was doing. Absolutely. I believe that there was something that I was doing that was contributing to or causing this pain that I was feeling. And I was resolved to figure out what the answer was. So I enrolled in nutrition and nutrition, herbalism, and holistic health certifications. And I eventually, in time, got to the root cause of my problems. The very first thing that I found was that I was B12 deficient. And
okay.
so B12 turned out working way better than the drugs, for pain.
Mhm.
So B12 made the pain go away, but I still had to take B12. So then my next question, as a scientific mind, it's always like, well, why? Why? Right? So why was I B12 deficient? And I later found out through my studies that I was B12 deficient because I was vegetarian aspiring to be vegan. And so that was causing my B12 and other deficiencies, but B12 was
Okay.
the most pronounced. And so I had to start eating eggs and dairy and fish again. And so I wasn't comfortable eating meat yet, but I started, doing those things, eating a lot more animal products. And then I didn't have to take the B12 anymore. So this is going to work for everyone. Sometimes migraines are caused by B12 deficiency, but sometimes they're caused by magnesium deficiency, lack of good sleep, rest, maybe vitamin D. There's many things, but for me, I found out what the cause was. Then the next question is, well, there's a lot of vegetarians and vegans out there, and they're not getting migraines, debilitating migraines. I mean, when it at its worst point, I was no longer able to work anymore or take care of my children. I was just in bed all day because of the pain. I couldn't even sleep in bed because it was so
Wow.
painful. That was before I went to the hospital. So it's like, well, why? How come other vegetarians and vegans aren't experiencing what
I'm not
I'm
experiencing that.
experiencing? Right.
Correct. Mm.
And then so through my studies in holistic health, I found out that was because of my stress levels. Being an entrepreneur was a very new venture for me. And so I had to learn how to be more patient, learn how to have better emotional intelligence, have better
Okay.
people skills, and not let them bother me, and better communication skills, and all these different things to build up my character so that I could be someone who was more resilient, and persevered better through the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, which, having a steady paycheck from a government organization, that was a lot easier than being an entrepreneur. And so you have to
Sure.
have an entrepreneurial mindset. And I learned that I needed that. And that was the root cause. So I found out my root cause. And, doctors don't often do this. It's very rare. I'm not saying no doctors do, but there are some holistic doctors that do. But What's great is that you don't need to be a holistic doctor to understand these things. There's herbalism. Herbalists have been around for thousands of years, helping people and incorporating things like diet and mindset and lifestyle, which are so important.
Very important. Very important. That's such a powerful shift that you went from realizing that. And I love that you were able to find the cause. And it was easier than, you thought, just, a shift, powerful shift. And you actually redefined your success as far as your profession, also in your health. So speaking of shifts, one thing I know everyone wants to hear, how did you integrate that wellness into your life? So just changing a few things that you eat, or was it more so of a total lifestyle change? Your thinking, your eating, exercising. What are your go-to practices for balancing everything and still building that legacy that you want to do because of the change in your career? You're starting a new career, you're starting a new legacy. So what's your go-to practices for balancing that?
Well, there's a lot, and it wasn't overnight. And actually, I believe that it's really a lifelong journey and a constant battle. You have to be intentional about preserving your health. And it's the same thing with marriage and raising children. All these things that are super important in life, your health, your marriage, your children, your business, all these things that are super important in life, they require constant care and constant attention and constant growth. And so personal development is, I believe it encompasses all these things: health, relationships, wealth. So personal development is a lifelong pursuit. And so, and also, we're always in different stages of our life. So, when I first became vegetarian, it felt really great. I got all this energy, different things, but I couldn't be vegetarian forever because, obviously it didn't fit my lifestyle later. And I
Sure.
needed that animal protein later. And then later on in my life, I also had to give up certain vegetables because they became things that I loved, like potatoes and pasta sauce, things like that. I later also became allergic to them and I had to cleanse from that
Really?
too. Yeah. So we're all on a journey, and what serves us at one point may not always serve us, and we can say that about relationships. We can say that about businesses and jobs and careers. I was a computer scientist because I loved computer science. I loved programming and the things that you could create with through programming, but I knew that I needed to learn more to protect my health and my family's health. And then after I learned these skills in holistic health and wellness, it's like, well, I saw that there was a need. There's a bunch of computer scientists around that I knew, anyways. But how many herbalists did I know? How many, naturopaths did I know? I didn't know very many, and so I felt like there was a need for this, and so I started getting into that, and I opened my website aruka.com and started helping people. So I think as individuals, I can't say that there's a set thing that everyone has to do. I never say that. I can't say that there are some universal toxins that everyone should avoid.
Okay.
I can say that. So we definitely should avoid junk food. That's probably not good for anyone, unless, of course, you're starving and you don't have any other choice. Then you don't want to be that dogmatic or religious about it. Also, for celebrations, we will indulge in special treats and things like that. But as a rule, um, sticking with food that is in its natural state is going to be the healthiest. And there's a story that I like to tell all the time, which is um, Dr. Weston A. Price. He's no longer with us, but he was a holistic doctor and dentist, and he traveled all around the world studying different native peoples and how they lived and examined their health. And he found that these native peoples living their ancestral ways, detached from modern society, they were in excellent health. and he was a dentist, so he looked at their teeth as well. He saw that they didn't brush their teeth, but their teeth were straight and they didn't have any cavities,
Okay.
and they didn't have the diseases that we have today. They didn't have heart disease, cancer, diabetes, all these different things. And when in our society, our women are starting to menopause and becoming
Early.
infertile and backaches and things like that, getting weak, getting, losing our mental capacity, things like that. In the native tribes, they were still in excellent health, able to bear children even in their older ages. And then the older men were still prized for their strength. They still hunted, and they were prized for their wisdom, and they advised the younger men on life and hunting and, different aspects of the tribe. And then he found that as they started adopting more modern lifestyles, including modern diets and modern habits, less time less time outdoors in the sunshine, in nature, less time with community, more isolated, eating junk food, processed food, not fresh food that they hunted or foraged, eating a lot more sugar and fried foods, seed oils, things like that. The more they did that, the more their health deteriorated, and they started adopting the same diseases that we have in the Western world. So, in a nutshell, whatever our ancestors did, we should try to get as close to that as we can. And when we can't for any reason, we have to compensate somehow. And that's why vitamins and minerals and herbs and, red light sauna therapy and hydrotherapy and massage, that's what these things are for, is to help compensate the fact that we have gotten away from our ancestral roots.
Love that. I love that. That's amazing, especially when you're talking about ancestral roots. That's one of the things that I'm really particularly interested in. And I do a lot of studies in genealogy and family history research. So that really hit a chord with me. And I love all the tips and the tools that you gave us. Very helpful.
Yeah, if
And-
we look at like like how did your mom cook, Because my mom cooked, it was all homemade food.
oh,
if we
yes.
if we were out at the mall, then we would get a little snack, but not to fill up on, just to hold us over until we got home, and then she could give us her good home cooked food again. And it was always like,
Yes.
meat, fresh vegetables, rice, and no junk food at home, not really at home.
Yeah, everything fresh from scratch.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I definitely see how all of these tools and strategies are so actionable. And I definitely see the big picture. Speaking of big picture, how does your spiritual health factor into all of this? Especially when it comes to your health, your family, your legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as I said earlier, my faith is I think the most important aspect of every single success that I've had in life. Whether it has to do with my career, my health and wellness, because I just believe that God wanted me to heal, he wanted me to be healthy, and he would give me the answer if no one else could. And so with that faith, I found the answers, and I believe that it was God that guided me to them. And then, with my family and my children, I've always believed that, for example, that marriage is a divine institution. It's not something that the government needs to really be involved with. I know it is, but it doesn't have to be, because it doesn't matter. What does it matter to other people what I do in my marriage or in my sexual relationships? But the reason why I choose to remain faithful to my husband is because I believe that the family unit is a divine unit that reflects the image of God as a family. So as a Jew, we believe that it's male and female both together that reflect the divine image. And that there's a legend, there's a Jewish legend, there's a Jewish thought that the first man was both male and female. He was like androgynous. And so when God separated Adam from Eve, it wasn't that he was creating something new, a new being, a female from like a leftover part, like a, not a leftover part, but like a part of Adam. But actually there was male and female in one being, and he separated. So they were truly one in the beginning, and he separated these two beings, from the side, like sideways maybe, but not that it was a new being. So if we are meant to be one, and this is the divine image, male and female, he created them in their image. And so this is why, many times in my marriage, I felt like divorcing my husband. And, but instead of, jumping to that, I'd say like, okay, what can we do first to try to salvage it? I'm not into this, you can never divorce, type of thing, but I am into, fighting for your marriage, because I think everything that's important you have to fight for. You have to fight for your children.
Yes.
You have to fight for your marriage. You have to fight for your health. You have to fight for your business. You have to work hard. I believe in working hard and all these values. Nothing, I don't believe anything that is truly of value comes freely necessarily, or easily, except for maybe the air we breathe in the sunshine. But even that, sometimes we have to fight for clean water, clean air because of all the pollution, that
Yeah.
man
And
is
we have to
is
fight for our health. That's right.
yeah, exactly. It should be free, clean fresh air and pure water should be free. But unfortunately, we've humankind has corrupted a lot of things, including, you know, relationships and food, our food supply, and our environment. So because of these things, we always have to fight. And I believe it's our destiny as humans. Another Jewish belief is that humans are co-creators with God, so that we have our share in helping to recreate or heal the world. It's called Tikkun Olam. And so I believe that, it's a very Jewish belief too, that if you find an area in the world that is lacking, that is missing, that is sick, that needs restoration, and you notice that no one else is doing it, but you have been gifted the wisdom to help in that area, then it's your job. That's like your calling, your destiny. So yeah, that's how my faith plays a part in my life.
I see. I see. Thank you. I couldn't agree with you more. It's so important, yet it's a piece of our lives that's often overlooked, our spirituality. Now, one of the things that fascinate me about your work and your story is how you also encourage entrepreneurs uh, to use their personal stories. What advice do you give someone who wants to create something lasting, a new career, but doesn't know where to start? Um, yeah. And how can they share their story with the world?
Yeah, absolutely. I really believe that people really, they're interested not only in what you do, but why you do something. And when they understand your passion for what you do, then every business, they're not just selling a product, they're selling also a vision, a vision for what they want to create, what they want to help people create for themselves. So I know you're into helping people build their legacies, and I think that's awesome, because especially as we get older, in the beginning, I wasn't really interested in building a legacy. I just wanted to be at home with my children. But as I got older, I was like, well, my time here on earth is limited. And I believe that there are different ways to live eternally. There is our neshama, our soul, which will live on, after our bodies are decayed. However, there's another way to live eternally, I believe, which is through our legacy. What did we do on this earth? How many people did we impact? How many lives did we touch? How many
Sure.
people did we pass on our knowledge and wisdom and experience to? And this is another way of living on in the world through our legacy.
Exactly. That's amazing. I mean, it goes to show that everyone's story is different. And when you share that with everyone, you share them what your purpose in life is, it's something that can impact them and the generations. So with your company, how do you help other people? Because I know you're health coach and you also teach. or empower other people to become health coaches as well?
Yes,
Correct?
absolutely. So health coaching, I see it more of a model, as a model for health and wellness. So when I say health coaching, what I'm talking about is, instead of the modern medical model, which is you are sick, you go to a doctor and they are the expert and they tell you the correct drug to take or procedure to undergo, and then you're going to be better. And that is a failing model. And doctors are realizing that too, which is why I have doctors and nurses in my program studying with me. The health coaching model is different. When you think of a coach, the coach is an expert, and but he's a counselor and he's a motivator and he provides strategies, right, and support. But the star is the athlete. So the star is the person I'm coaching, not me, because
Indeed.
as Dr. Vernon Coleman, one of the experts that we study in our program, in the Aruka Holistic Healer Certification Program, he talks about in his book, Coleman's Laws. One of his laws is that there are no holistic doctors, there are only holistic patients, meaning that every doctor, naturopath, herbalist, whatever you go to, they're not going to be the one that heals you. You will heal yourself. I believe that every single person has a divine inner healer, and that
Oh, yes,
this
I
divine
agree.
inner healer will guide you into what exactly you need to do, will motivate you to do the right thing. Um, Sometimes, though, what we lack is knowledge. And the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And I think that refers not only to biblical knowledge, but it also refers to health knowledge. It refers to entrepreneurial knowledge, financial knowledge, knowledge of relationships, all kinds of knowledge. They all belong to the divine, to the Holy One. And when we feed our inner healer with the right knowledge, then it will be unleashed to know what to do in different times in our lives in order to heal ourselves and then also eventually help others heal as well.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. I know everyone wants to know more about what you're doing. So could you share more about your websites, your programs? How can we get in contact with you?
Absolutely. So the website is www.arukah.com. That's a Hebrew word. In English, it's arukah.com. And it means long or whole. It's translated in the Bible sometimes as health or healing. Um, and so this is my goal, is to teach people about holistic health and healing so they can live long, healthy, energized lives, lives with vigor and passion, not lives that are sickly and bedridden and medication overloaded and things like this. So in the certification program, I teach people the fundamentals of holistic health, detoxification, nutrition, including orthomolecular nutrition, which is basically megadose vitamin therapy, and also herbalism. And we also touch on a little bit of homeopathy and aromatherapy with essential oils
Mhm.
and Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine. But
Ah,
mostly it is Western herbalism,
okay.
because, I'm an American, and it's a much more modern scientific approach, with Western herbalism. And my students learn from the top healers of our day, which includes herbalists, top herbalists, naturopaths, and also holistic medical doctors who have woken up to the failures of the modern medical system and have chosen a holistic path instead. And so they're very unique healers. Some of them have been banned from um, Google and social media at times, banned from the at a government level, because they were speaking the truth, and the truth was threatening to big pharma
Okay.
and threatened the modern medical system. But I believe that there will come a time in humanity's evolution that we will no longer have to depend on pharmaceutical drugs except for in emergency situations where they belong, but that the true healers will educate their patients in diet and the nature of disease and how to live a healthy lifestyle and avoid sickness and, be more in tune with God's nature.
Totally agree. Well, Mayim, thank you so much for sharing your journey and all of these wonderful and incredible insights with us today. Be sure to check out mayimvega.com and follow her amazing work. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Amplify Your Legacy. If you found this conversation inspiring as I did, please share it with someone who could benefit from Mayim's story or her coaching programs. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, leave a comment, and join us next time for amazing conversations. Until then, take care and keep building your legacy. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.